Day across Laguna Beach on this Sunday. Our weak low pressure system has moved away, but our temperatures are going to stay on the cool side on this Sunday. Partly sunny. I'm going to call it breezy. Temperatures, much like yesterday, which are kind of chilly for this time of year. 59 at the beach, 60 at the mountaintop in the canyon, 60 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, 49. We start a little bit of a warming trend for next week. Monday, sunny skies, the high 63. Tuesday, sunny and up to 65 on Tuesday afternoon. You had to notice the surf coming up over Saturday, and that will continue on this Sunday. And the peak is going to be Monday and Tuesday. Pretty good southwest swell coming up here, 6 to 9 feet surf. Monday and Tuesday, extra care along the beaches. That's my forecast. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray. Tune in, turn on to KXFM 1047, Laguna's Community Radio.
Imagine there's no heaven.
Hi, this is Tess,
Alec,
and Zoe from Walking for Water Teen Action Radio Show from Laguna Beach High School. We are a teen-run show that focuses on global issues facing our world today and expresses concerns of youth.
Tune in on the second Saturday of every month at noon right here on KXFM 104.7, Laguna's favorite community radio station.
This disclaimer is a statement notifying listening audiences that any opinions expressed on our shows are not representative of Laguna Radio Inc., its management, or its board of directors.
We are high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dream of, dream really do come true. Someday you wish upon a star with the clouds of far behind.
It doesn't matter if you love him or capital H-I-M.
Good morning. This is Craig on Rainbow Radio here in Laguna Beach. It's a beautiful, cloudy, what can I say? What can I say? It's vibrant blue sky with big, fluffy white clouds and a bit of rain this morning, and the sun is shining in and out. I don't know. It's a beautiful day in Laguna Beach, and we're glad you're here for Rainbow Radio every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. to noon. And I do have a guest this morning, but first, before we get to the guest, I just want to make a few quick announcements. Laguna Beach Pride has a couple events coming up. The first one that's coming up is on the 17th of next month, which isn't far away because today is the 27th of April. So it's the 17th of May, and it is at on the beach, courtesy of the beachfront resort in Huntington Beach, which is also a Hilton hotel, and they have their own beach there with their own Cabo Wabo sandbar. And so it is on the beach and in Huntington Beach. It's a beautiful location. There's going to be 4 fire pits and Adirondack chairs and friends and s'mores and everything. And that's, again, on the 17th. It's from 5 to 9. So it's for 4 hours, right? Yeah, 5 to 9. And it's free. Well, there is a parking fee, but besides that, it's free. Then if you're ready for something more, on the 1st of June, which happens to be what? Pride Month. Yes, the 1st of June, we have Andorra at again, our allies in the industry, Mozambique, and it's at Ivan's house, which is on the second level of Mozambique. It's a wonderful space, totally remodeled, totally ideal for Sunday brunch bingo. And that starts at 11 and goes till 2. And that is on the 1st of June, which is the first day of Pride Month. The first day they fly the rainbow flag above City Hall to commemorate all that's good and fun in Laguna Beach. So there you have it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. What else we got? Then there is going to be an event for the Susie Q, Club Q. We're not sure the date. It might be the 30th of next month is what it's looking at. Not sure if the theme or what else, but that's the dealio. So those are the two big announcements. I'll have more later on in the program. But next, I want to bring our guest in. I've been promoting him like crazy. I don't know if he's in Palm Springs or in New York. Perhaps he'll tell us. As often with guests, they're a little, well, not all of them. Some of them could be a little self-focused, but most of them are very humble. And so with that, I'm going to say Stephen Rowley is a New York Times best-selling author of Lily and the Octopus, a Washington Post notable book of 2016. The editor, named by NPR, which we should all support NPR, as one of the best books of 2019. The Grunkle. Now, that's a play on words. It's if you've been living under a rock, it's the combination of uncle and gay. So everyone has a gay uncle. I know I did. What family wouldn't be without one? A Goodreads Choice Awards finalist in 2021, Novel of the Year and winner of the 22nd Thurber Prize for American Humor, and the Celebrants, a Today Show read. Today Show? You were on the Today Show? Oh my! With Jenna Book, with the Jenna Book Club. Pick. Excuse me. Originally from Portland, Maine, he is a graduate of Emerson College and currently resides in Palm Springs with his husband. Congratulations, Byron Lane. I say that right? And 2 rescue dogs. We'll have to do. So make sure I got your micro. Are you there?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Morning. We can hear you loud and clear.
All right, fantastic. And I am indeed coming to you from Palm Springs, although your listeners can't see this, but I'm wearing a shirt that says New York, but I am indeed in Palm Springs.
That could be confusing. Well, I'm so glad to have you on. I love it when I have people that do something in the community, contribute something. And you have a new book, which we need to talk about. There's lots of things to talk about if you get the time. I'd like to share it. But anyway, this is your second. I kind of compare it to Tales of the City because there's the different series, and I feel like this is the second chapter of Tales of the City. Yeah. So how would you characterize it?
Yeah, and I love that comparison. And Armistead Maupin, who wrote the Tales of the City books, was such a I think back to when I came out in the very early 1990s, and I was thinking, life was difficult then for the queer community and for gay men in particular. I thought life might be kind of lonely, something lived in the shadows and scarily at the time, relatively short. But books like Tales of the City taught me about the importance of found family and community, and life has been filled with joy and lots of friends and found family. So those books have a special place in my heart, and to be mentioned in the same sentence is really lovely. So thank you for that. The Guncle books, there are 2 of them now. There's a sequel called The Guncle Abroad, and that takes place 5 years after the events of the original, in which Patrick O'Hara, who is sort of a semi-retired television actor living a reclusive life in Palm Springs, is tasked with taking in his niece and nephew after the death of their mother. And I was also very inspired by the Auntie Mame books from the 1950s.
Oh, yes. What a bouquet of thoughts right there.
Yeah.
I just
Well, the sequel to the original Anti-Mame novel was a book called Around the World with Anti-Mame. And so as a hat tip to that, series, I thought if there was going to be a sequel, let's go abroad. So we have the Gungle Abroad.
I was bored. Honestly, about 2 weeks ago, and I was, I don't know, sometimes in the evening I have dinner and a glass of wine, and then I want to watch something. I watched Anti-Mame for about the 10th time, all the way through, beginning to end. And what a wonderful, fun movie. If you listeners haven't seen it, they're younger, youthful listeners that never. Anti-Mame with Rosalind Russell. That's the only one to watch. I don't like the one.
I know we don't need to get into the other one. The Rosalind Russell one is the version, absolutely.
And she had a lot of stage performances, so her timing and her presence was just brilliant.
It's quite a history. I think it was a Broadway show. I think she did it on Broadway, Rosalind Russell, before it became a movie, and then of course it became a stage musical with Angela Lansbury years later. But quite a history.
I remember my memory serves me that she did do it on stage for a number of years, and that's why she was so good. But anyway, we digress. Your book. So, what's his name? Harvey? No.
Patrick, the main character.
Yeah, Patrick O'Hare.
Yeah.
So in the second book, maybe we should start with the first book. That was
to quote Maria from The Sound of Music. We'll start at the very beginning.
Exactly.
Very good place to start.
Very good place to start. Yes. So in the first book is when he had his two nieces. Is that what you said?
A niece and nephew. They were ages 6 and 9 at the time, and he's really sort of teaching them about grief in a way after the death of their mother. He's a character who lost his own partner in life and has been living kind of a reclusive life. And I think he understands from the outset that his grief journey is not one that he wants, which was more about isolation and closing himself off from the world, is not one he wants to model for the kids, that there must be a better way. So it's sort of, he inherits them for the summer, and it sort of turns into a season of healing for all three of them.
Well, there's and so that was what, 5 years ago that was
that book came out in 4 years ago, and I've just been incredibly touched by the embrace of that book, and it came out at a time when, the one thing authors have no control over is sort of the state of the world when their book is released. And to the extent that came out in May of 2021, at a time when vaccines were first available and we were all kind of emerging after a dark year of self-isolation, there was something that clicked about this book, about a character sort of finding his way back to the light. And it really captured an audience in a way that took me by surprise. And as you said, winning the Thurber Prize for American Humor, which is the highest prize in this country for written humor. David Sedaris, Jon Stewart, are some other names that have won that your listeners might be familiar with. And Whoopi Goldberg even held it up on The View as one of her favorite books. So I feel very touched.
We need a lot of humor, especially lately. I feel like so. There is some humor in this second book.
There's a lot of humor. Yeah, in both books, and I guess that's sort of what I do, is sort of write sometimes about dark topics like loss and grief, but do so with humor, And I think I'm certainly not the first one. Comedy and tragedy, two sides of the same coin, but I think that is the way to really sort of impact people now, is to allow them to have a laugh too, because as you said, these are interesting times in which we could all use a laugh when we can get one.
Definitely. It's particularly when they're dark shadows, a little humor can be a lifesaver. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think for the queer community, that's long been a part of how we have survived difficulty, is embracing life and laughing and dancing and and finding joy even when the world looks kind of bleak.
Right. Drag shows, they just lighten things up.
Exactly.
And another thing you mentioned about finding your home, to me, that even more so today, it's even more important that people can find their home when they lose one, and that's tragic that that's still happening so much. And maybe this book explains a little bit about that, finding your own home in the storytelling part of it. Speaking of storytelling, so you're a storyteller. What lit the fire, baby?
Oh goodness. I think about the work that I do now, and I credit my mother for introducing me to movies. And I grew up sort of in the 1980s watching these movies like Terms of Endearment or Steel Magnolias and Beaches when they came along. And to me, I always remember these as my favorite comedies because they were so funny to me. But I was telling somebody that recently, and they're like, "Oh, you mean the movie where the daughter dies, or the best friend dies, or the mother dies? Like these are comedies, really?" And to me, they were always stories about life and so full of love and laughter being such a big part of them. But I think that kind of inspired the tone of what I like to do today. Combining.
I can draw a comparison to a television series, 6 Feet Under.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a mortician, and my mother, my dad had passed, and my mother and I would get together every week and watch that. And all my friends would say, "Oh, why would you watch that? It's just so dark, and it's about it's not good." And I said, because it's funny, and it is about life. It's about living life. It's about embracing life and realizing how precious it is. That's the message. And
Absolutely.
So it takes a few clouds to make the sunny day a little brighter,
Absolutely.
What I'll say.
Yeah. And so I don't know, I was always inspired by telling stories. I remember even as a kid being in like first or second grade and writing short stories, and my dad taking it to the office and running off 10 copies on the photocopier for me to hand out to cousins or families or friends. And I remember in that moment being like, wait, there can be more than one copy of something I write. And so maybe I was destined for publishing from that moment on.
How old? What would you were? Sounds like you were just very young. If you.
Oh, 6 or 7 years old. Yeah.
Oh wow. So I guess it maybe it was an what do you say, an intrinsic quality that you discovered.
Yeah, it took me a little while to get here. I didn't publish my first novel until I was into my mid 40s, and but I think that's one thing I really like about publishing is that it's an industry unlike say film or TV where it's very youth focused. Publishing is something that rewards some life experience. The more you live, the more heartbreak you've had, the more stories you may have to tell, and so I love that some of the biggest books in the past 10 years are writers who, debut writers who've broken through in their 50s, 60s, and, even 70s in some cases. So, it's remarkable that, writing was always a passion, but that was something I sort of did for myself for a long time.
I recently had a guest on, an author, and I asked kind of similar questions, but I said, this book that you wrote, she says, "Well, let me tell you a story." She said, "This book has been bubbling under the surface for about 20 years." She said, and she said, "And I had other things that got in the way, but it was always there, and I was always thinking about it." And she said, "So when I had no longer an obligation for employment and I had time on my hands and an empty house, I thought, well, I should maybe start writing something, maybe write." And she says it was just like an explosion. Once it started flowing, all of these thoughts that I had baked in my mind for all those years just came out. I was like, she said, I was so excited. It was cathartic. It was wonderful. And I think of anything with art or expression, it can be very cathartic and healing to discover kind of a self-discovery of your own thoughts and what they mean and what they might mean to yourself and others, and how important they can be in that storytelling moment, especially as someone, again, I go back to this, if they're looking for a family, a book can be part of that family.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if it's not something to be published one day, what a treasure that would be for that person's family. And, it is a form of therapy in a way. Like sometimes you have all these thoughts bouncing around in your head, and it isn't until you get them down on paper that you can really sometimes understand and see what they're all about. So, writing, whether or not, the success that I'm currently experiencing dries up, goes away, writing will always continue to be part of my life for that very reason. It's my sanity sometimes.
I think of Jimmy Duretti's song, "Fame, if you win, it comes and goes in a minute." Where's the real stuff in life to cling to? Are the words. So you still have your books, even if the fame is not there and your friends. So that's really what's important.
Yeah, and two rescue dogs that keep me humble. Whenever I think too much of myself, they remind me, time to get out of the chair and take us for a walk.
I'm toying with that idea myself. I haven't had a pet in a long while, but maybe in my near future. So you had a couple other books in there too. What was the octopus one? Was that more for younger?
Yeah, Lily and the Octopus. No, that's an adult novel about a man who wakes up one morning and imagines he sees a small octopus affixed to his dog's head, sort of like a birthday party hat. And it's a sort of story told in magical realism. And in real life, I had a dog that I was very close to who had a brain tumor that sort of presented as a little lump on her head. But when I came to write about it, I realized what I actually needed to explore was the idea of attachment and how difficult it can be to let go. And somehow in my imagination, that lump became an octopus. And it, something about that tentacular kind of metaphor for loss and that grip that it can have on you made sense to me. It's a strange little story, but I'm very proud of that one, and it leads to an adventure of at sea. And there's a movie in development right now with the Amazon Studios, so we'll see what happens there.
Well, I hope it gets. I hope it goes to the Sundance or wherever it goes and gets. I hope it gets done first.
Yeah.
When is this the latest book? Tell me more about the second book then. Yeah.
So my second book was a novel called The Editor, which I really was a fun story to write. It takes place in the early 1990s when a young gay writer gets his big break, when his book is acquired by perhaps the most famous woman to ever work in publishing, and she really did, was Jacqueline Onassis, after the death of her second husband, our former First Lady, Mrs. Kennedy. After the death of her second husband, what she really wanted to do was have a career, and she went to work in book publishing and had a remarkable 15-year run editing more than 100 books up until the time of her, tragically early passing at the age of 64. And so a friendship develops between this young gay man and Jacqueline Onassis, who was sort of the, in Mrs. Kennedy, in her time as Mrs. Kennedy, was sort of the idealized version of American motherhood. And she has a sort of very motherly mentor relationship with him. And that was a lot of fun to do all the research on that and talk to people who knew her and work.
I'm a little older than you, but I remember the assassination and so it's very poignant. I always followed her closely.
Sure, a truly remarkable woman, and she could have done anything. She could have done nothing after, with the Aristotle money, and yet what she wanted to do was go to work. And I think that's kind of remarkable, and not really something that a lot of particularly younger people know, that she had this career.
Yeah, that she was Jacqueline Kennedy with, what an interesting, boy, she'd be someone to interview.
No kidding. I know it's hard to think she might, she would.
You're not up there, but I'm sorry. Yeah. That came out wrong. So then, what about number 2 with the Guncle?
The Guncle, yeah. So the Guncle Abroad sequel just came out. It'll be out in paperback in the next couple of weeks. It just came out last year. And it takes place 5 years after the events of the first book. So kids that were 6 and 9 and a little young and cuddly in the first book are now kind of 11 and 14. Approaching their teenage years. And they're a little less charmed by their uncle than they were, say, in the first book. And I really wanted to explore these characters as they age. I felt, I sort of wanted to check in on the kids and see how they were doing. But grief is something that can, you know, as I mentioned with the octopus book, you know, have these long tentacles. It's not something that you're necessarily over, particularly a significant loss like that of a mother at a young age. You know, you don't just work on it for a few months and then everything's fine. You know, it can have long reaching impact on your life. And so I wanted to explore long-term grief.
Who sees his friends with their parents and feels that somehow they were cheated and victimized by the loss of their parent.
Yeah. What are the milestones in your life where, you know, when you hit them without that person there, that you really feel how significant a loss that is?
Yeah. It doesn't just happen and go away. Someone always said it's always there.
Always there. And in this story, it rears its head again when their father wants to remarry and they are not happy about it. And so this time, as much as teaching the kids about grief in this new book, he's teaching them about love and why someone would want a second chance at it. And so
now the all-pressing question is, usually people who write books are a reflection a bit of their own life. And if you don't mind, could I go there a little bit with you on?
Sure, absolutely.
So some of these experiences with loss, were there some close to you?
Yeah, not the same as in the book, but you know, certainly I have experienced my own loss. And in fact, you know, while writing the book, you know, as I mentioned, I was originally inspired by Auntie Mame in those novels.
Yeah.
50s, whereas Mame sort of sent her nephew off to boarding school, and it kind of sidestepped the issue of grief. In real life, I lost my one of my best friends from college to breast cancer. She passed while I was writing this book, and she left behind a 6-year-old son. And so I knew, you know, intrinsically that I didn't want to do the end run around grief. That yes, the book could be fun and there could be lots of humor and adventure to be had, but I really wanted to tackle the grief portion of it head on. And so, yeah, personal loss definitely informs the work at times. And,
you know, I'm going to make a comparison to your writing and Bette Midler.
I'll take it.
And I've had people say, talk too much about her, but I got to talk one more time about it, because when she does, I've seen her perform, and and her music, and she can be very poignant and thoughtful and sensitive in very meaningful, sad songs or a story she tells. And then the next minute she's joking and happy, and she takes you on this roller coaster ride where it's really beneficial. You appreciate the grief for what it is, and then you appreciate the humor for what it is. And you move through those very easily before you really realize almost what's going on and how important it is to have that humor, and how grief can facilitate a better, more appreciation for lightheartedness and humor and good things. So that's the comparison of what you were talking about here.
Yeah, that's absolutely apt. And sometimes, you know, with her, that humor can be really baughty too, and that's a lot of fun. You know,
True.
that's a lot of fun too.
I'm cracking up for lack of shacking up. Cracking up for lack of shacking up. Yeah, that was a great. I should find that and play it for you. So there are some life experiences that are kind of mirrored in this.
Yeah, it's also, you know, I'm thinking of ways too. You know, I mentioned, you know, coming out in the early 90s, I never thought that something like marriage equality would be something I would see in my lifetime. You know, thinking back, you know, it just seemed impossibly far away. We forget how quickly the culture has changed and moved. And likewise, you know, having kids was not something that I ever considered for myself. And maybe that was a lack of imagination on
I believe me.
It just didn't seem like, you know,
on both those items, it is, I never thought. I remember when I was coming out when I was about 19 or 20, maybe 21, I don't know. And it still was illegal in many states to be gay. It was considered a mental illness at the time, and it was immoral. So you really had nowhere to turn, you know, and it was really difficult. And I never dreamed in my wildest dream that I would do an LGBTQ radio show in a beach community in Southern California, and I could get married if I wanted to. All those things it's just amazing. And you come in when you experience them early on, I think, and perhaps you have the similar thoughts. I always say, well, I'm gay. I can't have kids because that just wouldn't be right.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot of thought to dispel that habit or that thought that had been with me for so long that, the hell with it. I can, and if I want to have a family, like Pete Buttigieg, and he's a great role model for me and for a lot of youth, I think, that I could be entitled to do that. That was the farthest thing, or to hear a president of the United States or even a gay person run for the president of the United States,
Mm-hmm.
but talk about, equality and good things. Although now I'm getting into more current events, and it's shocking.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, it does, it has absolutely affected my work too. In real life, I am the uncle to 5 nieces and nephews. And so, those relationships surprised me about how, how important they were to me, and how meaningful being able to, even though they're not my children per se, to have an impact, on their lives. And in fact, 3 of them they're now teenagers, just spent the week with me here for their spring break in Palm Springs. So, I'm the uncle who lives across the country and has a swimming pool. So I'm exotic in that way,
Wow.
Gay piece of it aside, but it was really, a fun week, and it felt like the book coming to life a little bit. In fact, my eldest niece, who's now 16, had read The Guncle for the first time. It's the first time any of them had read one of my books, and which is not a knock on them. They weren't old enough before, but she read it, and I was on pins and needles the whole time, texting with her mother, my sister, saying, well, what does she think? How's it going? Is she laughing? What's happening? And
I wanted to read the first one completely. I didn't. I did get the audio version. I listened probably a third of the way through, and I ran out of time and realized it was 11 hours long, and I wasn't get it done in time. But you narrate it.
I did narrate. They rented me a recording studio right here in Palm Springs, and I read the book. It takes about a week to lay it all out on the recording, and then they edited it together, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Although I'll tell you this, I had to audition. My first 2 audiobooks were narrated by the actor Michael Urie, who is just wonderful. He was just in LA with the new version of Once Upon a Mattress, right from Broadway to the Amundsen, which I got to see, which is great. But I thought, I want to take a stab at doing the audiobook for once. I had a little acting experience when I was young, and I thought, I want to give this a try. But the publisher made me audition, and then I had to send in a recording of myself reading a couple chapters, and then wait back and see if I hope I get the part.
And you did. You didn't have to.
I did. Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, this is Craig on Rainbow Radio here Sunday morning in Laguna Beach, the 27th of April at about 10:30, and I'm with Stephen Rowley, and he's just released a new book called A Guncle Abroad, and he has several to his name. So if you're just tuning in, that's who we're speaking with here, and for on a journey of exploration, I suppose. All right. Now that I had to interrupt.
I'm coming to Laguna Beach. Speaking of exploration, I'm coming to Laguna Beach.
Really?
Yeah.
Going to do a book signing here? We'll set it up for you.
Yeah. I will be there on, let's see. At the Susie Q Community Center on May 28th at 5 p.m.
Okay.
Doing an evening conversation down there, and I'm very much looking forward to that, because there's some wonderful readers down in the beach community areas, and some wonderful bookstores too. So I love coming down there and Yeah.
The CPQ is a wonderful center. Have you been in there?
No, it'll be my first time. I'm very excited. I mean, I've been to Laguna before, but
it is a beautiful facility, and it's a community center. And we do Laguna Beach Pride, which I'm part of. We have an event there on the 30th for it's called Club Q, which is it's actually more for seniors, but we say it includes anyone 18 to the moon in their age. But so anyone is welcome. That's on Friday. So you're there Wednesday.
Thursday, yeah.
Oh, Thursday.
Yeah, whatever the 28th is.
That'd be the 30th, I believe, is
looking this up. 28th is a Wednesday, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so then, and we're there on Friday, but that's a wonderful facility, and I'm sure you get a lot of support. I will do my best, Stephen, to promote it and get the word out in some emails. And I do write for Stu News once in a while, which is a local digital publication here. And maybe I can get some pre-information out there for you.
That would be fantastic. There's a details and a link on my website, StephenRowley.com. So if anybody wants to come find me, and Craig, come on by yourself. Come on. Let's see you in person.
Let me ask you, I want to know, do you have any, I don't want to get too, I guess we can talk about anything.
We're friends now. You can get personal.
Do you have any siblings in your family? Brothers?
I do. That's how I have my nieces and nephews. Yeah, I'm the oldest of 4.
Well, that's true. I guess
they're all back on the East Coast. My entire family's. I grew up in Maine, and they're all back in New England. So,
I have a gay brother and a straight brother. Do you have any similar siblings?
No. Well, I have I have 2 sisters and a brother, and they're all tragically straight. So.
You're alone. Well, we told my older brother that if he really wanted to, who is straight, if he really wanted to change, he could. So he could be like those other brothers. But
Red Rover, come on over.
His wife didn't see the humor in it.
Oh no, why?
In fact, they divorced a few years later, but not because of that, I'm sure. But so where you're I always like to ask, because I get various ages here, and it seems that parents react differently depending on whether it was more recent or it was longer ago. How were your parents with it, you coming out, or when you came out? Or
yeah, they were remarkably great. I think particularly of my dad, whose name was Butch. His name is Norman, but everyone called him Butch. And, he was a Marine. And so that's hard to be the gay son of Butch the Marine. But he could not have been more lovely. I think it maybe took him 24 hours to absorb the news and come around, but he's a remarkable guy. And so I was very blessed and very fortunate because, it wasn't a sure thing. It wasn't a sure thing at that time, not even today it is. That they would accept me, but I've been very fortunate.
You never know. I think dads are always a little more, takes them a while to process a little more than perhaps mothers or moms, and moms seem to be a little more intuitive, I think, as a general.
Yeah, but it is one of the, things in writing the Gunkel books, particularly, it's, not that I have children, but I certainly have opinions on the having and of raising kids, and it allowed me to put them in these books. But Patrick really teaching the children to be their most authentic selves, and I wish everyone had the room to grow and be themselves without fear of rejection or judgment of some kind. I've never understood the people who want to have kids and love them only if they're sort of carbon copies of themselves. Like how could you want to have children and then not fully embrace who that child may grow up to be?
I saw an article recently about having children, and it's, if you decide to have children, you need to understand that they are who they are, and no matter what kind of parent you are, how you think you're going to influence them, they are who they are first. And that if they're gay, if they have disabilities or challenges, not that being gay is in that same category by any means, but you need to embrace that real person, and they're your child. They're part of you, and there's no mistake. You can't.
Yeah. And it's really exciting to see so many blended and queer families now raising children. That's really inspiring to me.
It is. I remember when someone wanted to meet me, and then he says, "Well, I got to say, I've got a child. I don't know, it was a son or a daughter. I don't remember." And I thought, "Oh, I could never have a relationship with someone who has a child, because that gay people." And then that was when I thought to myself, "What the hell are you telling yourself? You need to back off."
Well, it's great. And it used to be, for people our age, if somebody had a child, it might be because they came out later in life, that they were in a heterosexual marriage and maybe had a kid and came out later in life. Whereas now it's just, we worked hard to get here, particularly our generation. And I love seeing younger people, having the fruits of that fight and that labor that we put into, allow people to have as many options as possible, whether that be marriage equality or having kids themselves.
I have a friend here and his husband, and they each have 2 kids from former marriages. So they got four adults. Well, some of them are adults now, but they have 4 kids, and works great for them. It's a full-time job.
I got to say, I don't necessarily feel that I missed out. I don't know, then I would have had children no matter what. Especially after a week with my nieces and nephews, I was like, phew, great fun for 1 week. And then I'm happy to send you.
I always said, do you have children? I says, no, I borrow my brothers. And then when I'm all done spoiling them, they go home.
It's the best of all worlds. Yeah.
And I've done that. But yeah, my older brother has done the kids, and it's kind of taken us off the hook,
Yeah.
Not that my mother is.
She got her grandchildren. Yeah.
No, she loved anyone anyway. It didn't matter. Yeah, that's the way she was. But anyway, anything else you want to add about your career? What's next?
Oh goodness. I have I'll have a holiday themed book out at the end of the year called The Dogs of Venice.
Busy you are.
I know it's a little I'm going to write, as I said, what was the phrase? The fame doesn't,
comes and goes in a minute.
Yeah, it comes and goes in a minute. So I'm going to try to make the most of my minute. And so I have a holiday themed book called The Dogs of Venice. It takes place in Venice, Italy. That'll be out this fall. And I'm working on my first children's book, which will be out next year too. So I'm very excited about that.
I want to ask you about some of the mechanics about the publishing part of it, because I did have recently had an interesting conversation, because there's a lot of people out there that have that book in their brain that's bubbling under the surface. And who is your publisher?
Putnam, which is a division of Penguin Random House. So it's one of the big publishers.
Did you have, how did you manage to land such a biggie? I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, so if you have a manuscript, usually for fiction, the best, you really need to write that book out, fully in order to sell it. Nonfiction is a different story. If you're an expert on a certain subject and you want to write that, sometimes you can do that with a proposal. And particularly if you have a resume where you are an expert in your field. But for fiction, which is what I write, novels, you really have to write the whole book first, and you start your search for an agent. I always recommend a book called The Writer's Market. There's a new edition every year. It's almost like the old phone books in a way. It lists all agents and their contact information, what kinds of books they represent, whether they represent, you may be writing fantasy or sci-fi or contemporary fiction or literary fiction, and it'll tell you which agents represent what, and you can start emailing, start sort of cold querying and calling, and there's really no shortcuts, sadly. Sometimes a publisher will have a contest or whatnot that you can find online, but it really is still finding an agent and hoping that the book sells. And
this person that she got her book published, but she told me, shared with me something I didn't realize, that I guess not unlike the movie industry, it was all the big producers, and if you got a movie, you had to get in the door of a big producer. That was it.
Mhm.
Then along came digital cameras and easy production and all the film festivals. And there were so many independent, smaller, or that you could work with. And she says she felt that the same has happened with publishing. You had all the big, huge, and there were just a few of them, and you strive to get into those, and it might be years before you get in. But now there is a bit of a different culture where there are more smaller editors, and if you pick one that's a good match for you and you develop a relationship, that often that leads to much more. And I just was curious if you had experienced that, but maybe your experience is more recent, and that is already part of it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, my experience has been with one of, they call them the big five. There are five, Simon and Schuster, Random House, Macmillan, these companies that are, that a lot of people would know. If you're readers, you would recognize the name. But there are lots of smaller presses. Indeed, you are right. And university presses. And then self-publishing now is a, very legitimate route for people to go if you are looking for a more independent way, or to keep a little bit more of the money from the sales in your own pocket. And self-publishing can run the gamut, right? There can be very amateurish things published, but also very polished and professional looking books are self-published too. And sometimes they find their success, particularly with social media. If you have a way to promote yourself and your own work, you can do it all a little bit more independently now, which is great. That's the sort of equivalent to the sort of independent film and film festival route. But,
I think that's great because it takes the filter off that the big boys put on everything, and allows maybe some more creative, more edgy kind of I don't know, author books and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so the schedule for the future is your book that comes out, your next book, which you're working on now, I suppose.
Yeah.
Am I cutting into your work?
The Don't Go Abroad will be out in paperback, I believe, on May 20th, and then I will be in Laguna Beach on the 28th.
Yeah.
So come see me at the Susie Q Community Center, and and then I'll have a new book this fall. So onward we go.
What time at the Susie Q on Wednesday?
5 o'clock, I believe. Yeah.
5. Okay. So make sure you get me that information. I don't think you have it.
Oh, for sure.
So I can help you promote it. I would love to do that.
Great.
I appreciate your time this morning, and in sunny Palm Springs. What's the temperature?
It's sweater weather here today. It is currently only 63 degrees in Palm Springs, but I know that heat is coming. It is coming. So I'll take the cool temperatures while we got them, because it's
Have you spent a summer in Palm Springs yet?
Yeah.
Have you spent a summer in Palm Springs yet?
Oh yeah. Full time for 5 years now, and so
okay.
I just try to think of the opposite of, as I said, growing up in Maine. They're 3 months out of the year it's difficult to be outdoors, and just instead of January, February, and March, it's July, August, and September.
I made that comparison many times with friends in Chicago. I said, and when I lived in Phoenix for Scottsdale for about 4 years, you couldn't go out, so you couldn't go walk the dog. You can say it's too hot.
You know what? When I need a break from it, I'm going to come to the beach. So
okay, well, you always have I have an open invitation here. If you're in the beach and you pop in, if you happen to be here on Sunday, you want to pop in in your flip flops and your shorts, and bring your husband and your 2 dogs. That's great.
Deal.
We could interview everyone, including the dogs. It would be fun.
They've got plenty to say.
So what is the URL where people may get a hold of you on the web? So
my website is StephenRowley.com, Stephen with a V, ROWLEY.com.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming in. We're going to take it away here and sharing your life story and your books and stuff. Hopefully, maybe you can come back when you release your latest work.
All right.
That would be fun. And if you're
careful, I'll be knocking on your door.
Okay. Thanks again, Stephen. And it's been a pleasure. And I feel like I've made a new friend here on KX.
Likewise. Great chatting with you. And
All right.
more soon.
Okay. More soon. More to come. Thanks
Take
for
care.
tuning in. We're going to take a short music break here, and we'll be right back on the other side of it.
We must have been so crazy when we thought we were just friends. 'Cause I miss you, baby, and I got those feelings again. The sun made stranger as I watched him walking away. He was my one temptation. Oh, and I want him to stay. I guess I'm so confused about you. I feel so in love, oh baby. What can I do? I've been thinking about you. 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 We must have been so crazy when we thought we were just friends. 'Cause I miss you, baby, and I got those feelings again. Deep down, I'm still confused about you. 'Cause I feel so in love, oh baby. What can I do? I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. You feel me? You We must have been so crazy when we thought we were just friends. 'Cause I miss you, baby, and I got those feelings again. Deep down, I'm still confused about you. I feel so in love, oh baby. I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. You feel my
Yes, I've been thinking about you. Craig here in KXFM 104.7, Laguna Beach's community radio. I have have to announce that I have a new segment here on Rainbow Radio. It's called The Weird and Wonderful News, and I'm going to get into it next hour, along with my regular segments, which the week of an LGBTQ history and then with political updates, because apparently lately that's a big part of become a big part of the program, unfortunately. So it is a beautiful day here in Laguna. It's not quite a beach day, but it is blustery. The ocean, the Pacific, is just this deep, beautiful blue, and it only happens when the sky is really clear and beyond our atmosphere, the blue comes in. And so if you're not into surfing or anything, you can go to the beach and just look at the Pacific and the waves crash, and it's rejuvenating. It's always rejuvenating. I have had the opportunity to house sit here occasionally in Laguna Beach, and it's a home that when you go to bed and you open the window, you can hear the ocean thunder. You're so close to the water, and I find it so soothing and so nice. I think part of it is those waves have been crashing for probably millions of years, and they will continue to crash for millions of years. And it's reassuring that it's never going to stop. It's going to continue. Anyway, excuse me. I have one more song, and then at the top of the hour, and we'll catch you on the other side of the news. How about that? David Archuleta, Creme Brulee.
Oh no, another man down, another heart left on the dance floor. Took a bite, now he wants more. Words flow right out of his mouth. Yeah, like he's never had sugar before. Don't care about a main course. One night and we're singing up praises. 2 shots on the honeymoon phases. 3 with phrases, skipping stages. It's all over your face like, oh no. There goes all of your clothes. Speaking words you don't know. Yo te vuelvo loco, loco. Oh no, you want me in slow-mo. Snap me like a photo. Yo te vuelvo loco, loco. But you don't wanna wait, okay? Now you had a taste of creme brulee. You say, oh no, there goes all of your clothes. Speaking words you don't know. Yo te vuelvo loco, loco for you. Won't leave my bedroom. Your serotonin on the nightstand. I'm not even trying. One night and I'm singing my praises. 2 times and I got you saying 3 word phrases, skipping stages. Oh no, there goes all of your clothes. Speaking words you don't know. Yo te vuelvo loco, loco. Oh no, you want me in slow-mo. Snap me like a photo. Yo te vuelvo loco, loco. But you don't wanna wait, okay? Now you have a taste of creme brulee. You say, oh no, there goes all of your clothes. Speaking words you don't know. Yo te vuelvo loco, loco. Just one night, had the best night of your life. Es que estoy usando. I'm just too tired, sugary and caramelized. Okay. Oh no, there goes all of your clothes. Speaking words you don't know. Yo te vuelvo loco, loco. Oh no, you want me in slow-mo. Snap me like a photo. Yo te vuelvo loco, loco. But you don't wanna wait, okay? Now you had a taste of creme brulee. You say, oh no, there goes all of your clothes. Speaking words you don't know. Yo te vuelvo loco, loco.
KXRN LP, Laguna Niguel, Laguna Beach. KXFM on 104.7, KXFMradio.org.
Hey there, what's up, Laguna? Janice Murray here with news. Heard about people leaving California? Well, here's a switch. New data shows California's gross domestic product is now larger than Japan's and is growing faster than the world's top 3 economies, the United States, China, and Germany. for 2024 by another indicator, nominal gross domestic product, the United States was first again with 29.1 trillion. China second at 18.7 trillion. Germany third at 4.65 trillion. And then again, California came in fourth with 4.1 trillion, beating out Japan, which was fifth, followed by India and the United Kingdom. Last summer, California became home to the most Fortune 500 companies in the United States, with 57 total. Texas and New York tied for second with 52 companies each. So rock on, California. And I'm Janice Murray with news for 104.7 KXFM.
Hi, this is KXFM meteorologist Dave Murray. A nicer day across Laguna Beach on this Sunday. Our weak low pressure system has moved away, but our temperatures are going to stay on the cool side on this Sunday. Partly sunny. I'm going to call it breezy. Temperatures, much like yesterday, which are kind of chilly for this time of year. 59 at the beach, 60 at the mountaintop in the canyon, 60 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, 49. We start a little bit of a warming trend for next week. Monday, sunny skies, the high 63. Tuesday, sunny and up to 65 on Tuesday afternoon. You had to notice the surf coming up over Saturday, and that will continue on this Sunday. And the peak is going to be Monday and Tuesday. Pretty good southwest swell coming up here, 6 to 9 feet surf. Monday and Tuesday, extra care along the beaches. That's my forecast. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray. Tune in, turn on to KXFM 104.7, Laguna's Community Radio.
This is Suzanne DeCarian.
And this is Justine Amadeo.
We will be talking about everything plant medicine, mostly cannabis and psychedelics.
So tune in and turn on to the Plant Medicine channel at KXFM the second Friday of the month at noon.
That's every second Friday of every month. Join us at KXFM.
This disclaimer is a statement notifying listening audiences that any opinions expressed on our shows are not representative of Laguna Radio Inc., its management, or its board of directors.
Not necessarily. This is Craig and Rainbow Radio, and we are back with some news. Yes, it's on this day in history, and I do have it's not a lot this time. We'll get through it here. Suggested from courageous protests to culture-shifting milestones, these are the moments that made our community stronger, bolder, and prouder. So this is my new format here. I tried to make it be more positive. So here we go. Executive order, April 27th in 1953. Now this was not a good one. Eisenhower, which he was before me, folks. I'm sorry, but that was in the 50s. President Eisenhower signed Executive Order 10450 banning gay people from federal jobs. Let that sink in. It sparked decades of discrimination, but also fueled resistance and activism that would one day change history. That is true. A few more details on April 17th, 1953. President Dwight D. Eisenhower issued Executive Order 10450 listing homosexuals as security risks, along with alcoholics and neurotics, and banning them from working for the United States government or any of its private contractors. Under the order, thousands of lesbian and gay applicants were barred from federal employment, and over 5,000 federal employees were fired under suspicions of being homosexual. Again, over 5,000 federal employees were fired under suspicions. No day in court there. Part of the Lavender Scare, witch hunts contributing to the McCarthyist Red Scare. If you know history, McCarthy was about everyone's a communist, we need to throw them out. From 1947 to 1961, the number of firings based on sexual orientation was far greater than those for membership in the Communist Party. Whoa. So that's what happened. Can't laugh, can't make a joke about that, I suppose. No. And moving along, let's move along. April 30th, Ellen DeGeneres comes out. One of the boldest moments in history. On May 1st, the Global Methodist Church. This is a good one, folks. In 2022, the Global Methodist Church was created, a split from the United Methodist Church over LGBTQ inclusion. History was the United Methodist, and there was a lot of its followers because the Methodist Church is fairly, I don't want to say liberal, but very accepting of many, many things that are right and equality and good. And they had some issues, so that it kind of split into two Methodist organizations. A reminder that the faith and identity will wrestle, but our visibility is pushing every corner forward. All right. May 3rd, QCon. I never heard of QCon. Coming up this weekend, QCon lights up West Hollywood, the only LGBTQ comic convention. Expect cosplay, comic books, legends, powerful storytelling, and every color of the rainbow. So that's coming up May 3rd. Oh, that's right away. It's QCon 2025. Big wins around the globe on this day in history. The first Pride March in Asia was 1994. UN rules anti-gay laws illegal in 1994. It's a good year. And South Africa's anti-discrimination constitution, 1994. While the battles rage at home, history reminds us that pride is global, resistance is global, and progress, it's happening everywhere. Well, we're trying to step forward. Anyway, that is on this day in history, the shortened abbreviated version. Let's do some Maroon 5.
I'm hurting, baby. I'm broken down. I need your loving, I need it now. When I'm without you, I'm something weak. You got me begging, I'm on my knees. I wanna be needing your love. I just wanna be deep in your love. And still me when you're away. Oh, baby, 'cause I really don't care where you are. I just wanna be there where you are. And I gotta care what little takes. You sugar, yes, please. Won't you come and put it down on me? I'm right here, 'cause I need little love, a little sympathy. Yeah, you show me good loving, make it alright. Need a little sweetness in my life. Sugar, yes, please. Won't you come and put it down on me? Hey, my broken pieces, you pick them up. Don't leave me hanging, come give me some. When I'm without you, I'm so insecure. You are the one thing I'm living for. I wanna be needing your love, I just wanna be deep in your love. And still in me when you're away. Oh baby, 'cause I really don't care where you are. I just wanna be there where you are. And I gotta get one little taste. Sugar, yes please. Won't you come and put it down on me? I'm right here, 'cause I need little love, a little sympathy. Yeah, you show me good loving, make it alright. Need a little sweetness in my life. Sugar, yes please. Won't you come and put it down on me? Yeah. I want that red velvet, I want that sugar sweet. Don't let nobody touch it unless that somebody's me. I gotta be a man, there ain't no other way. 'Cause girl, you're hotter than a Southern California day. I don't wanna play no games, you don't gotta be afraid. Don't give me all that shine, no makeup on, that's my sugar. Yes, please, come and put it down on me. I'm right here, 'cause I need a little sympathy. So baby, just show me good loving, make it alright. Need a little sweetness in my life. Sugar, yes, please, come and put it down on me. Down on me. Yes, please, come and put it down on me. Right here, I need a little sympathy. Show me good loving, make it alright. Need a little sweetness in my life. Sugar, yes, please, come and put it down on me, down on me.
Hey, happy birthday, Juan Carlos. I understand it's your birthday today. That's a shout out for Juan Carlos. All right, I have this is the strange and odd and kind of crazy stuff. It's just random stuff that I just kind of pulled together, and I don't know, it might be kind of fun, you know? And we need to have fun once in a while. Lord, we knows we need to have fun. First up, who needs ski gear when you've got confidence? In Vermont, a bunch of free-spirited skiers bared it all. Yep, they were naked. What's wrong? To celebrate spring. That sounds good to me. Meanwhile, deep in the heart of Texas, a man on horseback decided the quickest way through town was through Walmart. So he rode his horse through Walmart. Well, you know, the shortest distance between any two given points is a straight line. Well, if Walmart's on the line, then I guess that will. Over in Brighton, England, a criminal mastermind of a seagull has been stealing French fries from the same food stall every day, and locals are rooting for the seagull. Okay, I am too. In Michigan, 300 volunteers formed a giant human chain to move 9,000 books to a new bookstore location. I think that's great. Imagine that. The books are, you know, box them up and take them off the shelf. No, but you could just a chain of people handing the books. I'm getting verklempt. And if you're planning a dream wedding in Vegas, now offers a Star Wars themed ceremonies. Officiants are dressed as Darth Vader and Leela. May the marriage fourth be with you. On a less romantic side, United Airlines flight had emergency landing after a rogue rabbit got sucked into the engine. The bunny lived, but the flight plans did not. Are you sure the bunny lived? I can't believe the bunny got sucked in. And anyway, speaking of airborne mysteries, a photographer in Mexico claims he captured the clearest UFO shot yet. Skeptics say it's fake. Well, that will go on and on forever. Down in Florida, a political candidate had to explain his past life as a clown. Shocking. In Thailand, a woman claims her hair has supernatural powers. Well, we should get her on the Today Show. Move over, Rapunzel. In Britain, a man unknowingly bought his own stolen car online. Well, that's probably not too difficult. You know, something gets stolen so they can resell it. Oh my. And so, but wait, there's more. In a hockey match, a Nachos flew out onto the ice mid-game, detracting a goalie enough to score. Throw those nachos out. In England, a choir with an average age of 94 years just became the world's oldest performing group. How about that's a good one? In South Carolina, A woman scored 200,000 after simply copying another customer's lottery ticket choice. Whoa. Better make sure who's looking over your shoulder. Rangers rescued a moose that fell through a frozen lake in New York. That's nice. A woman in Turkey set a record by crushing 5 watermelons with her thighs in under a minute. Wow, what an accomplishment. Crush 5 watermelons with your thighs. Over in Chinese karaoke bars, I find this, are now scrubbing down microphones like crazy after one singer claimed she caught herpes from belting out tunes too passionately. I need to get a hold of Peggy Perkins on Tuesday night. And make sure that they sanitize their microphones. Drag supermodel Danny Beard surprised everyone he was being arrested by saying they want to swap the stage for a TV hosting career. And that's what he said when he was being arrested live. He wanted to be anyway, instead of being a drag queen. ESPN's Dan Orlovsky was hilariously interrupted by a fire alarm during the NFL draft broadcast. In a darts championship, a stage collapsed onto the player. That's not good. Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour is reshuffling seating. Fans are playing musical chairs in the arena. In other words, they had to move them all around. What's wrong with that? Meanwhile, Michelle Pfeiffer was honored with her hand prints on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. How about that? She should have been there a long time ago. Stevie Nicks announced she's dropping her first album in 14 years. Really? Inspired by the great love of her life, including Prince. I want that one. We'll have to have it up. I'll have to get it and play it when it comes out. Ricky Gervais launched his Mortality Tour in New York, cracking jokes about life, death, and everything in between. Morbid, maybe. Ricky, okay. And over in Europe, a band, Remember Monday, is charming their way to Eurovision fame. Remember Monday. Why would you want to remember Monday? And the last one, All Elite Wrestling through a Russia Spring Breakthrough event, proving once again that sometimes the most dramatic stories happen outside the ring. All Elite Wrestling. Really? And that's the roundup for the weird and wonderfully wacky news. And some of it's not quite wacky enough for me, but, anyway, that's a refreshing break from the tragic news that, it seems to pervade the airwaves lately. What can I say? Yeah, she keeps me warm.
Safety and home. I named both of a ride. Forever and please don't go. I could be your morning sunrise. All the time, yeah. This could be good, this could be good. I can't change, even if I try. Even if I wanted to, I can't change. Even if I try, even if I wanted to. My love, my love, my love, my love. She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. What's your middle name? Do you hate your job? Do you fall in love too easily? What's your favorite word? Do you like kissing girls? Can I call you baby? Yeah. She says that people stare 'cause we look so
Oh, I can't wait. Eddie Singletary just dropped in on us here on KXFM 104.7. Hi, Eddie.
I just popped in, but now I can't see you. What have I gone into? Oh, there I am. There I am.
Well, I can see you and you look lovely.
I'm in yellow because it's spring, don't you know?
Oh, well, did you get your white shoes out yet? Or
I did. Is that after? I thought that was after Memorial Day, or is it after Easter? I don't know. What's the correct thing? Is that a thing anymore?
They're breaking all the rules.
They are. It's anarchy, is what it is, Craig.
LGBTQ anarchy here.
It's LGBTQ plus anarchy. That's what it is. Everyone's just doing whatever the hell they want to do. It's mayhem, I tell you, mayhem.
Did you catch my guest this morning, Mr. Rowley?
I did not. Oh my God, Craig, don't hate me. I found myself.
I won't hate you. I won't hate you. That's all right. He has a new book out, Guncle Broad.
Guncle?
It's a gay uncle they call it Guncle.
Yeah, I love that. I'm a Guncle. Are you a Guncle?
I'm a Guncle. I'm a Guncle too. Let's see. One of my I have two nephews, but one of the nephews has like 30 kids. So I guess I'm a great.
It's a lot of children.
Great uncle.
He's one man and he has 30 children.
Well, I exaggerate a little bit. Probably closer to 10.
Right. You times it times 3.
Well,
that is a lot of kids though. He's got a baseball team.
He's been married like 3 or 4 times and
so he didn't put one woman through all that.
No, he put several women. That's all right though. I shouldn't mention all our dirty laundry on air. So
yeah, you really shouldn't, Craig. Shame on you. I mean, we've talked about everything else. Craig, I was in Japan.
I know.
I've been in Japan. I've been back.
Airbots on I put one of those airbots on your luggage, and I knew everywhere you were.
Did you track me down like caribou?
Yeah. Tell me about the restrooms at the park there in Shanghai.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me just have a sip of my coffee. Anyway, they're really nice. No, so I got to tell you,
Michael.
Do you know here's something about bathrooms in Japan. Did you know that like even the public restrooms are spotless for one, and they all have bidets? Now, are you familiar with it? Do you have a nice bidet in your place?
Know, I can say I've seen them many places, but I've never experienced one. I don't know.
I have a whole new. It's a whole new world. It really, really changed my life.
Well,
it did.
Something we need to discuss on Rainbow Radio.
I think. Listen, I'm not going to go into the details, but fresh and clean. That's all I got to say. Fresh and clean.
Well, there's a lot to be said for that.
No, but I find it very interesting. I feel like I come back to the U.S. and it's like barbarians. We don't have like. It seems so smart, and actually, they are smart. They're like they know just when the toilets are so much smarter than our toilets. It makes me want to go and like buy one. I'm sure
I know they have them now that they'll do a urinalysis of when you use them and alert you.
They do not. They do.
No, they have them. This is true. They have them.
What were you? They'll do an analysis of your urine as you're using the toilet. It'll tell you like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
It'll take a sample of it and it'll tell you if your blood sugar. I don't know what they can tell from it real quick, but
it might be able to tell if you've been drinking or not, or if you have drugs in your system, if you should be driving or not.
So, what was the purpose of this world tour, Eddie?
So, what was the purpose? I have never been to Japan. I have always wanted to go to Japan, and it turned out that there was this huge, I'm in recovery. I've talked about it before. But there was this huge recovery conference there, and I was asked to participate in a small portion of that and give a little talk. So that's what I did there. It was really fun. It was really great. And so the conference put me up for a couple of nights. So I just went on. I just took that and catapulted it into a 2-week tour of of Japan. I landed in Tokyo and I spent the first couple nights in Tokyo. Then I went to this little town outside of Tokyo where this conference was. And then I came back to Tokyo for a couple more days. And then I took the bullet train down to Osaka. Now I'm obsessed. So I'm watching the show Shogun. Have you seen the show?
I've seen bits and pieces of
It's so good. So they're winning all these awards. It's really fabulous. It's so well produced and so well shot and done. It's gorgeous. And it's about, it's about the civil wars in Japan in the 1600s. And it's very, very interesting. And so I became obsessed with like all things, historically Japan. So I went to Osaka and I went to the castle. And Craig, I was there during cherry blossom season, which is unheard of. Like the odds of me just like happening to be there during cherry blossom season. There are people who like plan their whole trip around that. And it just worked out in such a great way. It was fabulous.
Ask you, Eddie, was most of this journey by yourself or all of it?
Oh, Craig, some of it was. I met some friends there in Tokyo, but then in Osaka, there was a gentleman that I knew here who was from Japan, and he lived there now, and he works for this like beautiful five-star hotel resort, and he hooked me up. So I had 4 fabulous days in Osaka, and he and I hung out quite a bit, and he kind of showed me around, but he had to work. So I was like, I would jump on trains and do my own thing.
Eddie, the point I want to make is I remember when I worked for a hotel company for many years, and I would be bored and I would be afraid to go. I always felt I had to do something with someone. And including once I went to a movie theater by myself, and I thought, what's wrong with this? What I'm saying is I praise you for taking the initiative all by yourself to travel and make the plans kind of spontaneous and
it was somewhat spontaneous. I planned it between 6 and 9 months ahead of time. I think it was maybe 9 months ahead of time, maybe. And then it's funny. I've always been able to do that. I do travel with my sisters and my family and friends, but I'm not afraid to get on a train. I went all over Japan by myself. It was kind of crazy, but thank you for that. Yeah, I don't know. I've always had that travel bug, and I go to movies by myself all the time. I have no problem with that.
Well, I think too often people are afraid to. Well, I can't go somewhere. I will say, though, that if you do travel to another country, if you do know someone there that knows their way around, that's huge because that it's kind of like the inside scoop or, exploring the culture a little more closely than the tourist viewfinder,
Right.
That's all good. So
yeah, I like it actually. I like being able to just like kind of at will just go and do what I want to do. And that's it. Like when I was in Osaka, I figured out the train system, and I took 2 trains and a bus to these beautiful temples in Kyoto, which is like kind of like the spiritual area of Japan, or one of the many. And so I went to some temples there and just kind of took some pictures and hung out and looked at the cherry blossoms even more. And then I came back down to Osaka and hung out there and just had some great food. And then I got on a plane and went down to Okinawa, don't you know, which is like way at the very southern tip. It's almost like it was very tropical down there. I did snorkeling down there. I went snorkeling with the fish. It was wonderful with another friend of mine who lives down there with his wife and his mother, and we had a wonderful time. I loved it. I had such a great time. Japan is beautiful. All the things you hear about Japan, it's all true. Everyone is polite. They all care for each other. They're on the trains are like immaculate. The streets are immaculate. There's no trash anywhere. There's no graffiti anywhere. Everyone just takes care. They really do take care of themselves, and they have such pride in their surroundings and in their common areas and in their community. And it's a very respectful, wonderful people. It's not like every man for himself and I got to get mine and screw you and all. It's just a very I loved it. Not one red hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have to say that was refreshing. It was refreshing to know that that's still alive and well.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really was. I mean, look, I went all over the city. I went all over Shibuya, all over Tokyo, and just and was it's true. You can lose your wallet in Tokyo, and it'll be at the police station the next day with all the money in it. It's true.
Oh my.
True statement.
Well, we could take a few lessons, I suppose.
Oh, we could. We really could.
Oh,
What? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, now you're back, and what's the news going on?
I'm back, and I gotta tell you, it's really been kind of strange because I only had I had like one audition the whole time I was there, which I expected, like, because I told my representation that I'd be out. But I was surprised but I also told them I could still, send tapes, and I had one audition, and it was like I realized, and I talked to my managers that the production is really down right now. It's really like they're saying like 30 to 40%. And they're saying that Hollywood's actually only operating at like 20% of what it had been as far as like cranking out these shows. And I think a lot of it has to do with this whole measure going through this whole initiative. Is it a measure or initiative? I don't know. It's going through the state Congress right now for Gavin Newsom to sign. So I'm not sure if you're aware that the state of California, our tax incentive is about $320 million for films, and it does not include TV or unscripted. And I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that's what it is. And now New York is like 750, and Atlanta is up there too. So there's this initiative going through where California, having realized that they have pretty much pushed all production outside of LA because it's too expensive to shoot here, will be offering a $750 million tax incentive to productions that want to shoot here. And I think it's high time. It's high time this happened.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous that it had to get to this point before they did it. There's going to be more debate on Monday. I'm hoping that this thing gets signed in the next week or two. And I think I'm hopeful that studios are holding on to that, waiting for that to be signed. And then the things will start opening up again here. That's my hope anyway.
No, I'd heard about that initiative. I didn't understand all the money, so I didn't realize that they give other states give tax incentives.
Well, they were all pretty smart because they started doing it. They started doing this when I had my production company. They started doing this whole thing where they would like different states. North Carolina was one of them. That's why we saw a lot of production happening in North Carolina. Georgia, of course, was doing it, and they had a lot of production, but they've had a lot of runaway production because they've scaled back their tax incentives. But producers, with the state of the economy and where we are now, producers need to have as much money as they can for the screen. And if they're paying insane taxes, where they're shooting, it doesn't make sense to shoot there. So that's why there's so much production in Vancouver and then overseas. And like people are, I'm working on a project right now that they want to shoot in the Dominican Republic because, they use pesos down there, and it's gorgeous. And you can like cheat a lot of parts of the Dominican Republic for different places, in the world. And they have a vast, geography that's, very, diverse, you know what I mean? As far as like the way it looks.
I even heard Montana did a lot of.
Montana's gorgeous, and yeah, you're right. You're right, because I think there are some things shooting in Montana. I don't know where. I think Landman, that show Landman with Billy Bob Thornton, is shooting in Texas, because I had a friend of mine that did an episode of that show, and he had to go to Texas for that, or New Mexico. Maybe it was New Mexico. I think New Mexico also offers like some really good incentives. So the states were all just like kind of vying to get some of that money, and it's sadly California just like did not. I guess it thought that it was just too good, too big to fail kind of thing. And the fact of the matter is, people are just going to take their money and go where they get the most bang for their buck.
Yeah, I always liked that California represents the movie industry, and that's a big part of the goodwill of California, and it's something that should be protected.
It's our number one. I mean, entertainment was our number one export. I mean, that's what we exported, right? I mean, that was our contribution. I mean, even though I will say this, we are the fourth largest economy in the world now. We just surpassed Japan. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
That's a big deal, but I don't know how. I don't know how you sustain that without the entertainment industry. I don't know. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, and Fortune 500 companies. That's on our news at the top of the news here on KXFM. Hey, have you heard of QCon?
No, what is that? Is that a queer thing? What is it? Q
May
for
3rd.
queer? Huh?
It's coming up May 3rd. It's QCon in West Hollywood. It's the only LGBT comic convention. It's like Comic-Con, but it's QCon. So it's, I guess it's more like gay.
Like gay cartoons? Like gay
well, yeah, it's
gay comics?
Yeah, exactly. It's expect cosplay, comic book legends, and powerful storytelling from every color of the rainbow.
Now, is it okay? Is it like legit?
Is it like
legit? I mean, I know that amongst the community there is a huge following of anime and all that kind of stuff. Is it that, or is it just is it queer content they're celebrating?
It's about Batman and Robin's relationship.
Oh my god! First crush. Can I tell you my first crush? My first fantasy was my first fantasy was Batman and Robin. I say that out loud.
Oh my! Well, I'm not saying that they were, but there's a lot of speculation. But anyway, it's superheroes or fantasy characters, LGBTQ.
Oh my goodness! Are you coming up? Are you coming up for this?
Oh, absolutely! No, that's this weekend. It's this coming weekend, May 3rd.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's
we should. Here's what we do. Craig. We dress up and we do a show remotely. Okay. I want to interview some of these people. We should do that. We should do a remote show in Hollywood one day, and we should interview people.
What day is May 3rd?
It's Saturday.
Oh, it is Saturday.
It's Saturday. We could do it. I think we could do it
during the show, but we could record it and then play it on Sunday.
I think it'd be great. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Well,
a little remote show. What's the weather like? What's happening in Laguna? What does Dave say about the weather in Laguna?
Well, it's partly cloudy, and we have a beautiful blue Pacific Ocean, and then we have big pillowy white fluffy clouds and bursts of blue sky, and now it looks like it's more clouds than blue sky.
Did you get any of that rain yesterday? Because we sat here and I had not seen rain like that since I think I was in Bali. It was coming down in buckets for like an hour, and then it stopped and dried up, and there was like puffy clouds everywhere. But it came down like it was crazy.
No.
And then it stopped.
We had a little bit.
Yeah, I think LA area got the full Monty, the full brunt of it, of that little crazy storm that came through. It was crazy. It even snowed in Big Bear. Nothing stuck, but it snowed a lot. I had friends in Big Bear. They said it snowed.
Oh, well.
Pretty late in the year. I mean, we're talking like at the end of April. That's kind of nuts, right?
Yeah. So, when did you get back from Japan?
I got back from Japan 2 weeks ago. I had a couple obligations, that's why I couldn't jump on the show with you for a couple of weeks. But I got back a week and a half ago now. A week and a half ago. 2 weeks is a really good time. Is a really perfect amount of time to go there. Your money goes really far. The dollar oddly is strong against the yen right now. It is. You can have a delicious meal for under $15, sometimes even under 10, depending where you go, even under 10. The 7-Elevens there, Craig, the food in the 7-Elevens there, like
I heard that, and they're trying to introduce that into the States where 7-Eleven has much more sophisticated food items than
they have. Fresh food delivered every day. It comes in and it is unbelievable. I mean, it's the same. It's weird to like walk into 7-Eleven. You think it's all like sugar and hot dogs on those heated roller things, just like in the front.
Corn dogs are overcooked and look horrible.
Overcooked, dried out cardboard corn dogs. Yeah, but it was none of that. It was like it was really good.
I did a whole article on it from some marketing magazine that I was reading or news that I was reading online. And it told how 7-Eleven has been so successful with these, what we would consider gourmet, high quality food items. And it's kind of like all these that you have delivered to your home where you get, which is, I can't think of the names of them, but there's HelloFresh, I think is one. And And right now they're really popular and they range anywhere from $5 to $7 or $8 or $9 a box for a meal. And
true.
Yeah. And so, but what they're saying now is that you can just stop at 7-Eleven on your way home, what they were doing in Japan, and you could get a wide choice and pick what you want. You don't have to worry, have them deliver. You don't have to put it in a refrigerator and hope you got to eat them before they expire. You just go there every day and grab your meal, 1 or 2 meals, and you're good.
It's true. The convenience stores really are convenient. They have everything there. It's funny. Their ATMs say 7-Eleven Bank. So I think
Really?
7-Eleven, yeah, I think they have their own. I think they're doing some banking now too, because all the 7-Elevens, you know how the 7-Elevens here are usually they're just like, either privately owned ATMs it said 7-Eleven Bank. And I don't know if that's a law in Japan that you have to, have a bank to put an ATM in there or something, but I just thought that was interesting. So they're probably making money on every one of those transaction fees in that place. But they were
talking about how difficult it would be to change the culture of our understanding of 7-Eleven with their new marketing, because when we look at it right now, it's kind of, low on the food chain.
Right. It's where you go, for free Slurpee Day and stuff.
Started introducing those with a modest, in one market with a modest campaign for the food items. But I'm sure in Japan, it's the volume that really makes a big difference.
It was shocking. It was shocking. The food quality was shocking. It really is
so funny. 7-Eleven, come on down to 7-Eleven for your gourmet food snack today.
So ridiculous, right?
Of a dried out egg salad sandwich from 7-Eleven, or one of those tuna sandwiches where the mystery meat is really.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know.
What's in there? What's between the bread?
It says I went to this Mexican restaurant in El Paso. And
what kind of an ending does this story have?
It was clean, but on the menu it said pork, and it had beef, and it had chicken, and then it had the cheapest items that you could get was meat.
Oh God!
So I told my friend I was with, Lay was her name. I says, I don't see any small animals around here.
Oh God!
Just to gross her out, because I don't believe that happens, but. The last one did say meat, and you have to wonder what all.
You have to wonder. One would have to question what exactly is making in that taco.
And this restaurant did have a thing at the door that if you did have a firearm, they wanted you to surrender it at the door.
Oh, that's thoughtful.
Yeah, I thought that was thoughtful. Anyway, that was El Paso, Texas.
Yeah, I guess the open carry law is fine, but you just can't bring them into a store. So I guess if you're,
I think that's fine. They should.
Yeah, I think if you are a store owner, you can decide whether or not in your store, even though there is open carry, whether or not you want. Yeah, you have your own policy. I imagine that would be fair, right?
Yeah,
and still constitutional, because you have your you have a right. It's not a public place. It's not like like a DMV or whatever.
Disneyland, you have to be so tall to get on a certain ride. That's their policy.
Let me ask you a question, Craig. This is a serious question. When was the last time you went to Disneyland?
Actually, probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, really? Oh, God, way more recently than I have.
More recently.
I haven't been there. I would probably say I probably have not been to Disneyland in probably 12 years.
Yeah, this was a horrible experience. It was on a Saturday, and it was Red Shirt Day for LGBTQ was one of the things. But it wasn't just that. It was just so overcrowded.
Oh my God!
And I felt like riding. I was there for 8 hours. I got on one ride, and the rest of them I didn't want to stand in line for an hour and a half. And
no, your day is gone.
There were these 2 women had one of the electric carts that you ride, because they were whatever their medical issues were, but they ran into each other. There were so many of them. They had a traffic accident, and they couldn't get them separated. And there was this big crowd gathering around trying to pull these two carts apart with these women that were not happy. And I just,
Oh my God.
this is not for me. Disney, you got to do better than this. And I think that they have, when the park is full, they still want to cram 20 more million people in there.
Yeah.
And when there's too many people in the park, then it's not enjoyable. And that's
I find it very unsettling and nerve-wracking. I think that the best and only time to go to Disneyland is when there's a private party, like when they shut the park down for private parties and corporate events, because like Red Shirt Day, which is just a bunch of Orange County and LA gays and San Diego gays going for a day, and just like where it's too busy, it's too packed.
Yeah.
They used to have I remember before they had like a gay night, like an LGBTQ plus night there, but now they don't do that anymore. Now it's just straight, which was wonderful because you would go and there'd be like no lines anywhere, but I think there wasn't enough crowd to like warrant keeping the park open for that many people.
Yeah, we have at Angels Stadium. We do have a gay pride night at Angels Stadium. Did you know that?
No, go on. Tell me more. When is that?
New, and if you buy a ticket, you get a gay rainbow Angels hat that goes with it.
Shut up.
No.
When is this?
Well, now as you're saying that, I'm trying to find out what the date is, but it's a month. I think it's in June. Yeah, during Pride Month, it is.
Well, that makes sense. Now, you think they're still doing it because, like, a lot of places aren't. Oh
no!
Now that you don't have to.
I just got a call from them, and they wanted to send me all the information just from the Angel Stadium, a representative that wanted to send me all the information about the event. So it's a big deal. They
Pride Night, Los Angeles Angels. Hang on.
Our Pride
June
Night
10th.
It's $5 and goes to OC Pride.
It's Thursday, June 10th.
Yeah.
Tuesday. Wait, I'm sorry. Did I say Tuesday or Thursday? I can't.
I mean, it's 6/10, whatever that is. What is 6/10?
It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, June 10th.
Okay. And so, yeah. And you get a Pride Night 2025 Tuesday.
Look at that cute hat you get.
Oh, it's a great hat. It's part of it, comes with your ticket purchase.
It does? Oh, it's the A versus the A's. It's an AA thing.
There's two different styles, but yeah. The bill.
Oh wait, what are the two styles? I like the gray one. That's sexy with the little flag on the side of it. That's cute.
The other one has the bill is rainbow colored.
I'm not a fan of that one. I don't like that one as much.
Yeah.
But I do love that gray one with the little thing, the little pride flag on the side, which that pride flag has really turned into something, hasn't it?
Yeah. So
I mean, it's incorporating it, so it looks like it's got the rainbow and incorporates the bears and incorporates the trans, the whole thing. I'm sure every single. We should dissect the flag one day, Craig, for our listeners.
I've done that once, but it's long overdue. Join us at the Gate 5 in the courtyard for a pregame festivity. So it's a pregame festivities. Cap redemption will be at the gate at Gate 5. So that's where you pick up your cat.
Okay.
Cap.
Fans must purchase tickets via angels.com Pride in order to receive a hat.
Yeah, you have to go to Pride. You have to purchase your tickets for angels.com Pride, which is fine. There's seats. It lists where the seats are. And so purchase your ticket, angels.com/pride.
Well, I gotta say, what was that? What was that thing again? Purchase your what? Oh, yeah, angels.com /pride is where you pick up those tickets. Right. That'd be kind of fun to get a little group together and just go and watch the boys play baseball.
Exactly. Have the gays. I think it's so wonderful they do that. I'm surprised because I would think there would be so much pushback on it, and I think there was that once they canceled it one year and then they brought it back and then they decided that it was the right thing to do to have it there.
I think they're going to make us all sit together. I think that's the plan, though, because
there's one. That's the idea. Put them all close together. You don't have to be in the section, but
no,
you can go anywhere. But they save some premium seats for the premium area for you, which is really nice. You might not get that in
right.
So there you go.
There you have it. Well, there you go. Angels Pride Night, June 10th.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have, you have to come down to see Endora on our Sunday brunch at Mozambique. And that is the 1st of June, which is a Sunday. And it's, it's from 11 to 2. And Mozambique just went through some major renovations.
Oh, they did?
Oh, yeah. And the Ivan, I don't know his last name, but he's the owner of it. And they have Ivan's House, which is the second floor, which is really opened up, and full menu, a fabulous. They've done a really excellent job in refurbishing it, which I didn't even think they needed to do, but they do.
I really do like that property. I think that property is really kind of cool. It's a good looking place, and I like what they do with the patio area. And I love that Endora's going to be there. I'm glad that they're celebrating Pride and doing something for Pride. Now, is that something?
We get some big prizes. We get Spaghettini's, over $500 worth of gift cards from Spaghettini's, and a couple nights stays at the Hilton. So we got a bunch of
Where's the Hilton?
Huntington Beach.
Huntington Beach.
Yeah, and then we do have an event on the 17th of June or of May. And that is a Saturday, and that is at Cabo Wabo Sandbar on the beach in Huntington Beach. And we have fire pits, and there's concierge, and there is staff security, which I need to mention. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. That's the beach bonfire, which is just all that.
Now, is that for OC Pride, or is that for, what is that?
Beach Pride.
Say again?
The Laguna Beach Pride.
Laguna Beach Pride is having a bonfire in Huntington Beach.
Yeah, we are having an event in Huntington Beach. We go all over the
we go all over the coast. We're taking over the whole coast. I just wanted to make sure that I need clarification.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And the fact is that the fire pits were removed from Laguna Beach. So we don't really there's one, that is in high demand, and so it isn't practical.
There's only one left there? I thought they had 2 or 3.
There's 2. I think there's actually 2 on the beach. They have about 6 more that are in the parking lot that they haven't put out there because they feel that the beach is not ready for it. So I don't know. And we can't. I went to the city. I did all this stuff, and I don't blame them. I mean, they're fine. They're trying to put them out when they feel that the beach sand is appropriate, so they don't get washed into the ocean, or they're in a poor location. So right now they can only put 2 out, and 2, there's so many people vying for it. I don't want for us to have an event there. We have to have someone go in early in the morning and hold the space all day, which isn't really nice,
right,
until that night. And then because there's no reservation, you can't. But it is the beach resort facility. So there is a Cabo Wabo Sandbar does serve alcoholic beverages. You have to consume them on their patio, but it is right on the beach, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful location. And the hotel is also given a huge discount for guest rooms if you wanted to make it.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're really taking over, aren't we?
Yeah. So we have to work with people that are really support us, which Mozambique is one, and certainly the hotel up there, the Hilton Hotel up there in Huntington Beach is another. And when they reach out to us and they're so generous, it's a nice thing. The charity that we've picked for both our events is the Friendship Shelter. And in fact, we may have some volunteers from the Friendship Shelter at Mozambique, which would be nice with Endora. If you're just tuning in and you don't know who Endora is, you got to go on to Facebook and look for Endora.
Find her. You won't be sorry.
You won't be sorry. She's a wonderful personality. He's really Terry is his name, and he's a hair burner by profession.
Hair burner. He's a stylist.
Oh, okay.
Hair burner.
It's like
Craig.
It's just like calling an
Find your manners.
Interior designer, interior decorator. They're not decorators; they're interior
Designers.
Designers, yes. So,
He's
yeah.
a stylist. He's a
I
very.
have a cousin, Michelle, was an interior designer in her Cooley and Pollard hardware upstairs in the loft. They had a designer section. It was really nice, actually, but you wouldn't, because it's a small town, it's in the hardware store. So, and for all I know, it's still there. It was locked up a few years ago, and it's kind of like a museum piece, I suppose, now, but no one gets to go in the museum. Anyway, they should open it back up and give tours because, whatever.
Right.
Cooley and Pollard hardware.
Cooley and Pollard hardware.
Yes.
You know what my favorite store? I mean, we got to plug Laguna Beach because we're broadcasting live in Laguna Beach. My favorites, I would say my top 3 favorite stores, the Laguna Beach Hardware on Broadway.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever been in there?
I have been in there. They have everything.
Literally everything. You can go get yourself some sand shoes and put them on while you're waiting for your key to be made in the back. I mean, and should you have a need for some kind of wind chime, on your porch, you can pick one of those up too. And I think that you can grab some dog food. They have, I cannot believe how much stuff they have in that store. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that's a throwback to when the major store in town was the hardware store, and they even had snack bars in some of them. But it's crazy.
I love that store.
We're out of time, Eddie. I hate to say it. Anything? Yeah, I know. I got a couple of minutes to kind of wrap it up here.
Time flies. Well, you wrap up your show. I adore you. Thank you for letting me barge in and catch you up.
Great to have you back, and I'm glad you made it safely. Japan, and you didn't have any problems in coming through the with
customs?
Back customs?
No. I got global entry, and no jokes, please.
Okay, all right.
Global entry. I walked right through. Don't you know?
Don't you know? Love you, Eddie. Thank you so much for being here, and I love you all for tuning in here at Rainbow Radio on our most beautiful afternoon here. Every Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon. I'll be back next week with another program, and maybe Eddie will drop in again. You never know. We can only hope. Thanks for tuning in. Going to be dancing in the moonlight here.